Unfortunately, we get ourselves into problems as small business owners and we need money now, but that's the worst time to try and get money when you actually need it. You should always go for funding when you have the leverage. You have money in the bank and you have cash coming in. We're going to talk through that right now.
Hey, welcome back to Blunt Force Business. I'm Brian LaFauci.
And I'm Patrick Marino.
And today we're going to talk about how to not give up your firstborn. Right?
No.
How to not go to the pawnbroker. Right?
Yeah.
How to not sell your Rolex when you need money.
Right.
Today's Blunt Force fact of the day will give you a hint of what we're going to talk about. Our Blunt Force fact is desperation ain't never got no good terms.
It's easy to, like we talk about this all the time. We're always talking about be prepared, right? Get your act together early. But I think that the challenge is that we need money when we need money, right? It's like when things are bad, when we're not making enough sales or we've run out of money because we've overspent an area. And that's when we go for funding, when the reality is going for funding then is going to be harder. Right, our terms are going to be worse. We don't have as much money in the banks. We're not going to be able to have as much power in that negotiation with funding opportunities. So when you're flush is when you should be trying to look to secure lines of credit and have extra funding, because then when there is a rainy day, you're prepared. Your borrowing terms will be better and you can get the cash when you need it.
We'll bury.
And you actually, Brian, the reason why we created this topic is because it's something Brian brought up on a call, I think.
Yeah.
One of our calls, because you were thinking through it, right? You're thinking like the best time to get a line of credit is not when you need it. It's now, because you've got the money that you will get a stronger line of credit, basically.
Absolutely. And the other piece of it is, I was having a conversation with a fellow business owner and who I know is very cash rich in their company. And he's like, yeah, my accountant pretty much said we're pulling a line because we can pull a big line right now. And I'm like, that's brilliant, right? And how many companies aren't doing that, and aren't prepping themselves up like that? We're in a completely reverse situation. We have an investment right now that is doing very well from a valuation standpoint. Keeps growing and growing. It's, we're really happy with it. But we had just finished the final renovation, right? So we had been dumping money back into this investment for like 4 or 5 years. Not taking any dividends, just reinvest. And it was working. From what we bought it from to what its end value is right now is everyone's happy. But we also are like, it's going to be nice once we're done with all of the stuff we've done and we can start getting us to like a really, really good cash position. So we were just about to be done with that. And there was a fucking fire. Like now we're like, and we had to go back in and rebuild a couple of these units that we had just finished, right? And so anyways, now, does insurance cover it? Absolutely covers it, right? But what's the problem with insurance? You have to wait for the payment, right? And that is not overnight, right? So we are looking to gear up for the rental season, and we need to finish these things. We can't wait on that money to come in to get it all squared away. So we were in a predicament that nobody likes to be in, where we're like, maybe we could use a little extra cash on hand right now. And then you feel pressured and you feel like you've just given up control over options for lending that might be, because these people are going to know that you need it. And if they know you need it, then 2 things. One, it puts them in a position of, if these individuals need cash, did they not prepare well?
Right.
Right. Whereas the reality is it's a bridge loan. The money's going to be there.
Yeah.
But whenever there is the sense of that, there's a chance that the risk profile gets bumped up on their end, so the rate gets bumped up on their end. So you don't get the best rate, right? And then you're also just more willing to pull the trigger on anything instead of waiting.
Yeah, because you need it.
Yes, instead of waiting for if you didn't need it, you could be very diligent with going to all
Shopping around,
waiting for saying no, and seeing if they come back with something better. So for a million reasons, and I don't think we do this well as business owners
or as people,
as business. And so on the call that we talked about this, one of the systems that I think I mentioned on that call was, well, how do you make sure that happened? To me, it's about getting it on your calendar.
Yeah.
Like every 6 months, having a block that just repeats itself where you're evaluating your credit worthiness.
Yeah.
And if your credit worthiness has gone up, maybe you can renegotiate rates on stuff you already have out there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if we kind of make this a conscious effort, we are pulling available funds and getting the best terms as a consistent process. How many people have a home equity line of credit that they've had for 10, 20 years that is the same line at the same rate, and they just kind of let it sit there.
Right.
Whereas the reality is their home probably is going up in value. They could probably get a bigger line, constantly reevaluating that. But then,
well, how about with a home,
being
though?
smart about using it, though.
Yeah.
Right? So the key is get it when you don't need it. Don't fucking use it, which is the...
Yeah.
Crux.
Well, it's the same thing with a home. A lot of people don't think about getting that line of credit on their home until they think about the thing that they're going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that they're going to do with it is what drives the process. Instead, and it speaks to the point that when there is a need, your terms aren't going to be as good.
Right.
Then if you're just constantly, as a point of planning, thinking growth, and that is in your personal life, but especially in your business life. And we've talked about this frequently on this podcast and with our entrepreneurs, is that you need to be in constant growth mode. Growth, not only to make yourself more money, but as a protection against the outside world, whether it's uncertainty or whether it's competitors coming in. You have to be in constant growth mode. And that's something I think that is sometimes a dirty word, and the capitalism is evil.
Yep.
Way. It's why do you need more? Why do you need more? Well, why do I need more? Because the chances of everything being as good as it is right now are higher than they are as them being better than they are right now, right? The chances of something going wrong are pretty high. It could be a catastrophe, a worldwide pandemic. It could be a recession. It could be a fire, right? Any number of things. Your best employee goes away and takes all the business with them. All these things that could happen. You're just protected by having this in place, and you just want to constantly be in that mode of growth. And as part of that, how do we stay in the mode of growth? We're constantly reevaluating our financial position and then we set goals for ourselves. If I'm in this position, set it. In your case, your buddy had an account, right, who was pushing this. Work with your CPA and be like, hey, look, if I get to this point, we need to talk line of credit, because that means I'm in the best possible bargaining position.
Yep.
And then if we have a line of credit that we haven't used in a while because we did a good job of planning, then as you said, in your calendar or as your appointment with your CPA every year or whatever terms are that you meet with that person, if they're a yearly contractor, if they're part of your company, then that's just part of the business plan.
Yeah.
Right. Is reevaluating that financial position we're in for our next funding round.
And I think we can next level this conversation for our listeners too, because as you're looking at this holistically as a business owner, and I have a very good accountant, but I'm going to tell you one thing that he never really drove me down the road. I had to kind of figure it out myself and work towards is as we're looking at expanding our access to capital as a individual and as a business, those are two different lanes. And if you are not monitoring your business credit, and most startups are not, most startups do not know where their business credit sits. I'd be willing to bet, and I have a lot of friends that are business owners, if I went to 9 out of 10 of them and said, what's your business credit score?
Probably they don't even know that there is a business credit score.
Yes. So here's like I think a really good tip. Even if you're just starting out in business, you want to build and develop your business credit score while you are developing your personal credit score, because they can happen simultaneously. And the end goal is your business can have its own credit, right? So your business credit can exist on its own. You don't have to personally guarantee everything if you can get to that point. And I've done a lot of research on this. I've paid some money to companies for this. I've done some. One of the things I'm gonna do a little product recommendation right here, because I've been really happy with it so far. Is this this company called Nav, N-A-V, and they have a great app. It does a bunch of things. One, the key things to being able to know where you stand in your ability to draw funds and open up lines of credit and, get expanded credit cards that are available if you need them, is to know where your credit score is, know where your business credit score is too, as a second part to that, and know what your debt ratio looks like and all that stuff. Nav has an awesome tool for that. That it combines a personal and business piece to it. The prime function of that app does cost a little money. It's worth every dollar. It gives you a system to grow your business credit. It links a business card to your personal to your business bank account that then starts reporting back to all the trade unions. You'd be surprised how many business things you have that are not reporting. Right. So there's a system to that. Nav does it, and when you're going to get denied for the business credit without a personal guarantee, Nav gives you this card, links it to your business account, and then you just start using the card. And what happens is it looks like a business credit transaction. It's just pulling from your business checking account when you use it. So the same way you were going to pay for something with that account. And then right under it, you can see those credit scores and how it's seeming to be a really, really great resource. I will have more on that over the next couple months, but I've done a lot of research on this and I've used a lot of products. This seems to be one that I'm really happy about for a number of reasons. It also can work as a profit and loss analysis system. So if you're not using something like QuickBooks, this company also allows you to go in and reconcile all your transactions and provide you with profit and loss statements and things like that. So it's got a lot of functionality to it. And I'm a big fan of it as a way of kind of starting this process of just being on top of this. So when you evaluate it every 6 months, you have a tool where you're not like waiting 6 months to make changes. You're constantly tracking your changes. Right. You're tracking your credit utilization rate and, if we're going in the right direction. It's got one of those boost functions too, I think, to it where Experian has this as well.
If you're paying like utilities or something like that normally wouldn't report to
yep.
a credit union or
yep.
credit association or whatever.
Yeah, and it has this one thing where it'll do something for you on the personal side where you can it'll help clear anything on there that shouldn't be on there. So it's a great tool because what we're talking about in being prepared and
how can you know? So what we're saying is apply for more funding or start seeking out more funding when you're in a strong position. And how do you know if you're or how can you be in the strongest possible position?
Yes.
And then how do you know if you're in a strong position unless you're really tracking it?
And then what we're also saying is at the same time, you should be building your business credit. Yep. And if you think just having a business banking account and a business credit card is doing that, it's not. It's not. My consultant business has been in business for 8 years. We have all the things. We don't show on any of the major credits. On any of the major credit business bureaus, we don't show any score. It's fucking ridiculous. So you have to, you have to do these extra things that you wouldn't even know to do. But then what's the end state? There's two beautiful things about that. One, the eventual goal is after doing that for a year or two, you can now draw a line without it being on your personal credit. That's a win for everybody. Two, your business valuation naturally goes up because the line of credit is attached to the business. So if I sell you my company and it comes with a $150,000 line of credit that most lines go away because they're attached to a person. So if I sell you my company,
you get the line of credit.
Yeah, when we sold our sport complex, our line of credit was not It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
It was personally guaranteed by the owners.
Yeah.
So the new owners didn't get it.
Right.
If you go this route, it's like me handing you $150,000 of operating cash.
Right.
Because you have it and it goes with the business. So the valuation can go up. So the sale price can go up on this because the line dumps with it. And it's all in just building your credit.
What do you think about? So we talked about, we've almost been talking about this exclusively as a rainy day thing, right? It's like, I need the money now. So it's a good thing that I did what I did. It's a good thing when I was in a strong financial position, I had a cash reserve and I had a line of credit that was based on my strength that is really healthy.
Yep.
So there's something wrong, that's great.
Yep.
And now you're talking about, I have the line of credit, I didn't touch it, I'm selling my business, that's attached to it and proves, okay. Is there, as somebody who doesn't have businesses like this, right? I mean, I'm a marketer, I'm generally,
but your marketing company could do the same
right,
thing.
but I'm saying like, okay, but I'm saying is that, is there a benefit or a risk to not using it? Should I be using that line of credit for something to keep it, to keep it active, to maybe that improves my credit even farther, my business credit, by using it, paying it back?
Yeah, you could use it like a credit card.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. So you can use it where you can, and the other
strategically for growth, knowing I can pay it back, that kind of thing.
And a lot of times is you might look at your company and say, hey, I got this growth lane. This growth lane is going to return me 20% over the course of a year. It makes sense to borrow the money on my line at 6-7%, keep my cash, and then repay it. But now I've built this program that will grow 20%, right? So absolutely, I think you have to keep a portion of this available. And I've done this multiple times in real estate. What do we do in real estate? Well, to grow the portfolio, a lot of times we'll buy a property, or you do whatever, you increase its value, you pull a line on it, and then you use the line to buy another property.
Yeah.
So that line, in essence, gets used
really.
up pretty quick, right? And we've done that a lot. So you grow an asset, but you
don't have it for the purpose that we're talking about.
Right. The smarter move would have been, and this is kind of how I like to approach lines of credit at this stage, is if you're going to do that, you got to allocate a percentage of that to keep it free.
Yeah.
Most people will just say, all right, let's use it. Let's do that. And I get it, because that model definitely allowed me to build a real estate portfolio quick. There was a point in time where we were buying a couple houses a year as part of a portfolio. The only way we could do that was by leveraging one for the other, right? We didn't have the cash to just buy 4 houses in a year. So it worked. But thinking back on it, it probably wasn't the smartest from a rainy day fund.
Well, you're almost kind of fortunate that nothing went wrong.
Very fortunate, yes, because I've been on the other lane where you're over leveraged and it goes wrong, and then you can't, And while there are benefits to the line, though, there's a reason why keeping cash on hand is also equally important, because that line can get frozen pretty easy. And I saw that during COVID. During COVID, when we owned the sport complex, the bank froze our line of credit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't use it. I'm like, thanks, pal.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I would never use Bank Newport again. Comfortable saying that out loud too. Like, cause at the end of the day, like, they kind of fucked us at a time when, you needed that operating capital.
Right.
But that's on the banks.
So some key takeaways here, because I don't think we have to go much farther than that, because I think we've talked it out pretty well, is that you want to evaluate your position not just for potential weakness, for strength, and then you want to take advantage of your strength, right? When you're strong, when you have cash in the bank, when you have a positive cash flow, that's when you seek out the line of credit. That's when you seek out additional funding.
Correct.
Because that is when your leverage will be at its highest, and you can shop around for the best option because you have time. Whereas if you wait until there's an emergency, you're not going to have the time.
Yep.
And the bank is going to look at your position and say, well, not only does he need it, so we're strong.
Yep.
But also, you're not going to have the same leverage. Your rate's not going to be as good. All those things, right?
Yeah.
And then the last point would be that you're using a system to improve your business line of credit, track your business line of credit.
Mhm.
And what was the company called again that you used?
NAV, NAV. Yeah. Like I said, so far been very happy with what the information it presents in front of me and how it will help a business to build their credit score up and be able to be self-funding. It makes a massive difference. It's a bit, there, as business owners, as we grow businesses, what's our biggest risk is the exposure that we have with all this stuff out there being attached to us. Right. And having to potentially worry about repaying when we are struggling with businesses that might be at like, hey, we're in a tough spot. We may have to close.
I'm going to have to lose the house. And
well, the first thing we ask them is like, all right, tell me what you have a personal guarantee on. And then we got to, and because they're approaching that completely different. So this lane is it's a next level for our listeners to start thinking about. You don't have to be big to do this. That's the misconception. Oh, no. The minute you incorporate, you could start this process, get there quick, and start to offload the all these, the financial kind of burdens from yourself to the entity as much as possible. So if the entity does happen to close, you can be there.
And grow or die. Like you should be constantly in growth mode.
Grow or die.
Be constantly looking for more money, more leverage, more credit, more funding.
Mm-hmm.
You should never stop that process because even if you don't need it, you could always pay it back or you close it, right? I mean, if you don't need that line of credit, you can always get rid of it.
Yep.
But at least you have it.
Yep.
And then you should be constantly looking to see.
Lend a little bit of
I
it.
think part of it as well is just like you're constantly like if you are in a strong position, use it for something. Part of it, not all of it.
Yes.
Use a part of it for something. How can I make my business better and bigger? Because I think that's not just growth for our pocketbook. It's also growth to protect us from competition and something that could happen that's an emergency.
Yeah. A great conversation.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Distressed money ain't getting no good rates, bro.
Yeah.
Queen, Baca. I'm Brian LaFauci.
Throwback. Patrick Marino.
Next time.
Thank you.